We preview the Seattle Seahawks season and tell you if they can go over or under 5.5 wins. We also let you know how you could take home $1,000 of cold hard cash this NFL season, and it all starts right now. What's going on, everyone? It's Matt from Grandstand Bettors, and last year we cashed on 70% of our season win total predictions, so why not do it again here in 2022? Also, we're excited to announce that our second annual NFL betting contest is now open at grandstandbettors.com. It is absolutely free. Make sure you go sign up for that. The link is in the description, and the grand prize this year is another $1,000 cash, as well as some other great prizes throughout the season. But without further ado, make sure you hit the subscribe button, you smash that like button, because it is time to dive in to the Seattle Seahawks season preview. And the Seahawks have a over-under of 5.5 this season. And the era of Russell Wilson as a quarterback for the Seattle Seahawks is over. After making the playoffs in 8 of the last 10 seasons that he was on the team, a couple trips to the Super Bowl, and even a Super Bowl victory in 2014, they now look to Drew Lock to lead them this season. Not ideal, and definitely a step down, but good organizations know how to rebuild in these scenarios. Although a few years ago we might have said the Seahawks had the groundwork to bounce back from this in maybe a year or two, it doesn't look like that is going to be the case anymore. The backup to Lock is Geno Smith, who went 1-2 when he stepped in last season, and that only one win was against the Jaguars. He averaged 175 yards passing in those games, but a stat we do want to point out is he was sacked 13 times in those 3 games. Now, there are several other parts of this team that are falling apart left and right, and although quarterback is definitely a priority, it's going to be tough to fix everything at once for this team. Now, they did try to fix their offensive line a little by drafting Charles Cross out of Mississippi State with the 9th overall pick in this year's draft, but they made no additions in free agency beside adding center Austin Blythe as a backup to Kyle Fuller. At running back, Chris Carson retired in the offseason, and their starting running back right now would be Rashard Penny most likely. He has shown flashes of being a solid back in the league, but it's tough to compare him to guys like Carson and Lynch, which this organization has just gotten used to over the last decade or so. Now, really, the only bright spot offensively for the Seahawks is their wide receivers. DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett are really the only guys holding that offense together right now. The problem is, both these quarterbacks are averaging less than 60% completion percentage over their career. So that is going to be an issue if they can't even get those guys the ball. In addition, with the status of their offensive line, Locke and Geno Smith might not even have time to get them or the ball down the field. If they do not have a big year out of Penny and the running game, there's going to be some real problems moving the ball and with the quarterback situation, putting up points overall. Defensively, the Seahawks, they have gone from having one of the best defenses in the 2010s to now having one of the worst in the league. Last year, 31st in the league in pass defense, 17 in run defense, and they gave up around 22 points per game. To top things off, they lost their captain of their defense, Bobby Wagner, in free agency, along with 4 defensive linemen and 3 defensive backs. This doesn't help their problem of generating pass rush, which only put up 34 sacks last season. Now, to fix this, they did bring in a couple veterans for their line to pair up with Ford and Al Woods. They've also added in free agency Nwosu from the Chargers, and along with Darrell Taylor, they will come off the edge more this season as their linebackers collectively only put up 11.5 sacks in 2021. Now, a returning bright spot of their defense is linebacker Jordan Brooks. He'll be entering his 3rd season in the league out of Texas Tech, and he did break Wagner's previous single-season tackle record with 184 last season. He definitely seems to be emerging as a new leader here on the defense, but besides him and Jamal Adams, there is really a lack of talent on the defense. Hopefully injuries don't affect Adams for the rest of his career after he was limited to 12 games last season with a torn labrum, but free safety Diggs looked pretty good last year in filling in and should hold things together this season if something does go wrong. Now, the Seahawks, they have the 11th hardest schedule in the league this season, and with the guys they lost on offense and defense, it's tough seeing them hit that win total again this year. Their over-under dropped all the way down to 5.5 this season after being at 9.5 last year with Wilson, even though he was out a few games, but you don't know that before the season starts. They do have 6 winnable games this season, but at the same time, those are also very winnable games for their opponents as well. So the Seahawks this season, I know they're trying to find a replacement for Wilson at quarterback. Is it going to be Locke? Is it going to be Geno Smith? Maybe somebody. Maybe they trade for Garoppolo. Who knows? But they are going to have to start to rebuild this team over the next few seasons. And unfortunately, I think they're going to have to go through a rough year. And because of that, we are going to take the Seattle Seahawks under 5.5 wins this season. Now we have one season preview left, and who other than it would be the Cleveland Browns, and we'll see if the Deshaun Watson stuff is figured out by the time we do that preview. But we head into our division previews after that, as well as our playoff predictions and eventual Super Bowl champion. In the meantime, though, don't forget to sign up for our NFL betting contest over at grandstandbettors.com. Absolutely free. We're giving away great quarterly prizes again this year, with that grand prize being $1,000 cash. As always, though, sit back, relax, and if you're a Seahawks fan, we sympathize with you. But at least you had some great years before you had to rebuild.